Hi and welcome to you all. I'm just setting up a bedside table and I'm just going ahead and opening up the box. I moved here last year of 2023 and I still haven't done my bedroom. So I had this box sitting here for a couple of months. I really couldn't be bothered to do it because I was unsure whether I wanted this or another color scheme, another bedside table. I was just so unsure. There's so many lovely home designs out there. Anyway, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and put it up after a long time procrastinating, just showing you the diagram. And in truth be told, I hate doing this kinds of stuff because I find it very mundane. This is where in my life I do need a man. I spent the 2023 fixing my house up and putting everything together, and I think I'm just over it at this stage in my life. But here we go. I'm just working out what matches what, throwing away the cardboards, that's the protections, and I'm just getting it all laid out into pieces so I can work out what goes where. It's a small bedside table, 2 drawers, and I just find that it just go really nice. I bought a bed, which I will show you, which is a 4-poster bed, and I want a bedside table to go on either side just to give it that look, so I'm going to join you on the other side, and once I've got everything out and ready to go. And I'm back. So I've just grabbed my case of nails and all the other little trinket bits to put the bedside table together. As I'm getting started, I want to share a pro and a con with you. So what I find about Ikea is that I love the fact that it's affordable. If you need to buy something a bit more expensive, you can get the finance. However, the downside to their materials with their wardrobes, bedside tables, things of that kind of nature, it is such a cheap wood that I think it's called MD something. I can't remember, but you guys will probably know. What I find is that if you put the screw in the wrong hole placement, it easily cracks when you have to take it back out, or weakens the hole that the screw was not meant to be in. So you have to be very careful of that, or else you will create a very slack hole position if your screw is smaller than the one that you originally put in and crack that surface area or inside. But while I'm fitting this up, and because to be fair, I'll probably go very slowly. I did end up going very slowly, shall I repeat? Because I really, I'm not unsavvy with this setup thing. So let me share a story time while we set up the bedside table. So as I mentioned before, I moved in here at 2023. And I was quite excited to come and set it up and get all my colour schemes together. However, what I've noticed about being a single woman and living on my own is there's always a misogynistic male that lives close within my vicinity. Just moving the camera a bit more closer for you guys so you can get a better angle of what I'm doing and seeing the screws going in. So here I am again. Let's get back to work. So what I find is that there's always a male that is in the neighborhood, preferably a neighbor that doesn't live very far, that starts to watch you and see that you are very independent and there's no man around. And I find that for me, in my experience, and this is not every man, but there's always 1 to 2, they will start to harass me in some ways. And it's very unfortunate that these kinds of misogynistic men still exist. They're like cavemen. It's like they generally hate women, but you will never notice in the beginning because they will be the one that will make a pass at you in terms of showing interest that they like you. And if you decline the interest, they take it as an insult, and that's when they start to throw things at your house or, ring your bell. just childlike stuff. And we're at a time where, misogynistic men used to exist probably in the 60s and 70s. That was the last of the bulk of them when I really think about it. I wasn't born in the 60s or 70s, but judging by what I've watched on TV and the kind of things men would say and how they would interact with women, it was heavily misogynistic, and that slowly has died out, and we're having more of a evolved man that's more emotionally in tuned and educated. But there are still few flickers of males that are misogynistic, to think women should be these damsel in distress and can't help themselves. But someone like me, I can help myself. I'm not brilliant, but I do own a drill. I own a screwdriver. I own some other tools. And the reason why I'm like that is because I had a stepdad that always drilled it into me that I should know to do these things, because you never know when you don't need to depend on anybody. I've been raised as a girl from a child to be very independent, to have my own, to be prepared, not to rely on people. And that is how I have grown up. I can't help how I've been trained to think. And I have a son, and I try to teach him the same thing, but he seems to be very disinterested in most of it, to be honest with you.
Are you talking to yourself?
And that was my son. Do you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't pass on to everyone, but at the end of the day, he might be the type of male that fluffs papers. But I always try and include him in these kinds of things, so he's very much independent also. But back to the misogynistic male. I understand that they are feeling threatened by the female that is very much can handle herself and does not depend on a man. Now, it's not to say that I don't need a man, or should I correct that? It is not to say that I would not welcome a man into my life. Of course I will. But the ones that dictate to me that I should be with them are not the males that I would actually go for. And it's telling, because their mindset, their belief systems, their values, how they live their life, what they focus on, is clearly an indication that we wouldn't be a perfect match. Because if you can easily turn around and harass me because I decide that I don't actually have an interest in you, then that is not the type of person I would ever want to be with anyway, because I wouldn't have much trust for that kind of individual. Hate for women and women empowerment by men is really hate for themselves. I feel like men compete with women when there should never be any competition. I think men easily are jealous of women when there's nothing to really be jealous about. And they compare themselves in life where you are to where they are. And sometimes in my experience, it's always been an older male who is single. And let's not forget about the women that support misogynistic men's views and their terrible behavior. You can't blame them all the way, because they've also been trained to believe that the viewpoints of some misogynistic men is correct. But if your behavior is about trying to have power over women because you hold no power at all in your life, in any area, you're not successful, or you haven't got any ambitions or goals or looking to achieve anything, then you don't actually have any, you're afraid as a man to go up against another man, and you focus on women and make women your target to have hate towards and beef. You want to beef women. You are a weak man. And also, not only that you are a weak man, you have psychological mental health issues, because we have to talk about it. There are so many men out here that says to women on social media, that says, what do you bring to the table to a woman? And I had to really question that. And I saw a post that said, whose table is it? Now, when a man says, what do you bring to what do you bring to the table? I'm assuming he's saying it's his table. Who has a table, invites a guest and questions the guest, what do you bring? When you bring something when you invite somebody, you invite them because you like their presence. It's the very essence of them. You like what they have to say. You feel that they are respectful of you and your table. You obviously like the look of them as well. So if it's that man's table, therefore his table needs to be prepared and set. So he shouldn't be telling you as a woman what you bring to the table, because it's clearly his table. So your table, why are you asking a woman that very question? A woman brings, and this is not all women, but so I don't want to sound biased, but this is not all women. A woman that is well-rounded, soul-based woman will bring her nurturing skills, her essence, her kindness, her joy, her respect. Her knowledge, her femininity, her ideas, her inspiration, positivity. But a misogynistic male would not see that, because most of the time they don't believe in what women has to say is of any great value to their life. Just to give you more context to how men carry on and what I'm really referring to, where I used to live at the age of 14 with my parents, I had a neighbor that lived across the street from me. So he knew me from the time I moved in. I was going secondary school. He had 3 kids that were 2 roughly around the same age, one was younger. My mum passed away in 2012, and this neighbor, within a few months after my mum passed away, came and made a pass at me. Bearing in mind, this man is married, and I've known him since I've been 14. When I never took up his offer and was quite disgusted and appalled by it, to be honest with you, because I couldn't believe his mind was in the gutter, he started to throw stones at my door and ring my doorbell. This is another older male. He was around the same age as my parents. So this is the mindset that I'm talking about. It's a sickly mindset undercover. Now, when the parents was around, bearing in mind I was 30 years old at this point. I never moved out of my mum's house until I was about 30, 34, something like that. But this was in the time frame after my mum had passed. This neighbour, who's known me all his life, that has been all very cordial and everything like that, now began to start harassing me because I was not interested in anything with him outside of good morning and goodbye. He then started to have a relationship with the woman round the corner. And I couldn't help, I really wanted to ask her, do you know that he's married? You know, but I stayed out of his business. I didn't get involved in all that passa. But the mindset, this is the sickly part of it. Many women do not talk about this type of mindset of men that we find very irritating, and it shows an ignorance in that male. Some men you can't even have dialogue with because they can't even string together a conversation that makes sense. And it may sound like I'm being very critical of men, but I'm really not. I'm just pointing out an underlying problem that many men have. There are a lot of men that says, oh, I want a woman to listen to me. I want a woman to listen to what I have to say. I'm the leader. But some men need to have a conversation with themselves, because some men can't lead. They cannot lead themselves, let alone a family, a wife, or children. They'll be leading you off the cliff. Some men are not ready for a serious relationship with a woman. And that's why there are so much men that are out here that do not want a committed relationship, because the truth be told, a lot of them are not ready to actually be a leader. They're not ready to take care They are not ready to take care of a family. So let's just go back quickly, because I am coming close to finishing this bedside table, and I'm just preparing the drawers for the bedside table. And I'm finding myself just getting all the bits together. I'm probably chatting also in this video. But yeah, I want to go on to a next example that I had. And that is, I would say I could count on one hand in employment how many times I have been sexually harassed in my workplace. Now, one thing about something I've never really shared outside of friends, but it's something that I have to share on here, because when women mention anything of that nature, it is seen as nothing. You're not taken seriously. Now, when I say that, I mean, it wasn't anything over the top, but it still was violating, and that is that I've had at different occasions, at different jobs, I've had a man try to grope me in my private parts, in different areas, on my breast, in my groin. And these things are not handled. Well, they're getting better now. I'm probably referring back to but from 2000s to 2009 in my earlier years of life. And this is different age groups of men who feel that they can have the right to have access to your body. And it's just, like I said, it's just the mindset. So it's something that you as a female have to deal with, even in your workplace, and feel like it's not going to be taken that seriously, even if it happens in front of management, supervisors, or anything else like that. The UK has been very slow. I think America is a lot more better when it comes to things like this, but in the UK, it's seen as not a big deal. It's laxy-daisy, and in fact, the issue will go really unpunished, unacknowledged, and you have to just crack on with it as a female. It's misogynistic men, and the worst of it is that sometimes with men that are not necessarily misogynistic, when they get around a man who is misogynistic, they will start to partner with their views, even if it's at the detriment of hurting women. And that's the sad part. Men don't hold each other accountable. They allow each other to really egg each other on, laugh, find it funny, and they do not speak up for they do not correct each other. They do not have a different perspective to share with one another. They allow their peers, their friends, their family members to continue on a downhill spiral. And yes, like I said, there are females who will partner with it and think there's nothing wrong with it. And when I had my issues happen, the first one I did report, I think I was 18. The second one, I physically punched the guy, but I was also called in the office to have a dressing down to say, you can't act like that. And I felt as if I was the one really being victimized and then also told off on top. But first I'm concerned, if you didn't come into my private space, then I wouldn't have felt the need to hit you or anything of that nature. I'd done what I had to do, and I don't regret it, to be honest with you. If anybody tries to grope me, you will get a fist. Especially if I don't even know you and I have not given you that indication that's what I'm suggesting. I'm in my uniform, I'm in my work uniform, I'm there as an act of service to the workplace. Like, how dare you put your hands on me in any kind of unnatural way that doesn't seem above board. They have training on how you should interact with your colleagues, but when it doesn't go to plan, just know in the UK, nothing is done. In fact, what they would normally do is if you say anything, they normally sack the woman. So we still got a long way to go in the UK, leaps and bounds. And unfortunately, in some countries, it's even worse. So it just depends on where in the world you are and how seriously such subjects are taken. Look at me here with the drawer. Very slow, but I will get there in the end. Yeah, I'm not a feminist, but I understand why women become feminists, and that is because of misogynistic men who really abuse their position, the power that they have in society, in the social construct, not just within their families, but outside amongst the groups of wider women, whether they know them or not, and that they are supposed to really just protect women, young girls. But it creates a mindset in women to see men as more of a threat in certain situations, and to go up against men and to fight men for, and I'm not talking about anyone that's all women that are twisted and they just lie on men or anything of that nature. I'm just talking about someone just getting on with their day, and you have a man come along and intercede, and normally don't know where to really draw the line with themselves. They don't have any boundaries, and they think that they can just come into your lane and make sexual suggestions or touch you in some type of way, or if you're not interested in them, become abusive and carry on a certain way because they feel like emotionally they're like men boys. Now, this video was not about bringing this subject up, but I feel like it is something that's not really talked about widely, and a lot of women feel like this deep down and don't say nothing, and we're just getting tired of it, to be honest with you. And it's just this constant childlike male behavior that we just, and like I said, it's not all men, it's just there's a group of these sort of old mindset left that I wouldn't mind just getting rid of, to be honest. And voila, guys. Now, this took me 2 hours, but eventually I got the job done. I feel like the boxes actually are quite deep, as you can see there, and it's going to be a bedside table, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the room and see what it looks like. Thank you. See you on the other side.